welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're digging into something pretty fundamental, that age-old advice. Study hard, get good grades, find a safe, secure job. The path we were all told guarantees success.
Right, the standard playbook. And our sources today really challenge that. They argue that following that exact advice now, it might actually be, well, financially risky.
Risky how? It sounds so safe.
Well, think about it. That advice worked great for, say, our parents' generation. Job security was everything. You stayed with the company for 30, 40 years, got the pension.
Okay, yeah. That world feels distant now.
Exactly. Pensions are rare. Loyalty is, let's be honest, kind of gone. That secure job, it often feels more like a trap, even if it pays well initially. The world's just changed.
Right. And there's this moment in the source material that really hits home. A parent, very educated, realizes their kid is pointing out that the really rich people think Bill Gates, Michael Jordan, Madonna, they didn't just climb a ladder.
The kid basically says, your path isn't their path. It's a wake-up call. The old educational model made you a good employee.
But it didn't teach you how to be an owner.
Precisely. It didn't teach financial literacy in the way that builds real wealth.
Okay, so that's our mission for this deep dive, Sen. To unpack that the difference between working for your money your whole life
versus figuring out how to make money work for you. That's the fundamental shift we need to explore. So let's trace that typical path, the one based on the old advice. School, good grades.
Check, check. Then land a good job doctor, lawyer, maybe military officer, engineer, something respectable and, secure.
Nice. And at first it feels like you've made it. Maybe there are two incomes. You feel successful.
So you start acting successful,
Yeah.
right? Get the bigger house, nicer car, furnish the place, maybe rack up some credit card debt along the way, start a family. Looks like the dream.
It looks like the dream. But this is exactly where our sources say people get caught in the rat race.
The rat race. Explain that.
Think of it like a hamster wheel. You get a raise at work, which sounds great.
More money. Freedom.
Except your taxes go up. Your expenses tend to rise to meet or even exceed that new income. Bigger house means higher property taxes, more maintenance, more debt creeps in, mortgage, car loans, credit cards.
So the raise doesn't actually buy freedom. It just speeds up the wheel. You're working harder, maybe you're earning more on paper, but you feel just as stuck, or maybe even more so.
Totally stuck. You end up working primarily for others, the owners of the company work for, the government through taxes.
And the bank, servicing all that debt. Ouch.
Yeah, it's working harder, not smarter. It comes down to a fundamental misunderstanding of how money actually works.
Like that story from the source about trying to literally make money as a kid.
Yeah.
Melting down lead toothpaste tubes.
Yeah, to cast counterfeit nickels. Lots of effort, right? Hard work.
But totally misguided. It's illegal, for one.
And pointless. The educated dad in the story, he realized he couldn't actually teach his kids how to build wealth, just how to get a job. He admitted he didn't understand the system himself.
Wow, that's quite an admission. It really highlights that financial intelligence is maybe more crucial than just the professional skill itself.
That's the core takeaway. You need to understand the system. Which brings us to probably the most important rule from the source material. It sounds incredibly simple, but it's where most people, especially the middle class, get tripped up.
Okay, lay it on us. Rule number 1, what is it?
Rule number 1, you must know the difference between an asset and a liability and buy assets.
Okay, that does sound simple.
Yeah.
Like really simple. So why is it revolutionary? Why don't people just do that?
Because the common understanding, the conventional wisdom, often gets the definitions wrong. People buy things they think are assets.
But they're actually liabilities. Okay, so let's get the definition straight, the really simple, no-nonsense versions.
Absolutely. Keep it simple. An asset is something that puts money in your pocket. Think cash flow coming to you.
Money in. Got it.
A liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. Cash flow going away from you through your expenses.
Money out. Okay, asset in, liability out. Simple enough.
Right.
But here's the big one. The house. Everyone says your house is your biggest asset.
Ah, yes. The sacred cow. According to these strict definitions, for most people, their primary residence is actually their biggest liability.
Whoa. Okay, explain that. Why isn't my house an asset? It goes up in value, right?
It might appreciate, sure. But think about the month-to-month cash flow. Does your house put money in your pocket every month?
Well, no. I pay the mortgage, property taxes, insurance, upkeep. Money definitely goes out.
Exactly. Property taxes, the source mentioned, parents shocked by a $1,000 monthly tax bill even after paying off the mortgage. Interest payments, maintenance, It's constant outflow.
So even if it's worth more on paper, the day-to-day reality is it drains cash.
Correct. And that has huge consequences. Money tied up in the house isn't working for you elsewhere. You lose the opportunity to invest that capital, you lose time, and you lose the experience of actually investing and learning.
Okay, let's picture the cash flow then for, say, the middle-class person following the old rules.
Money comes in from the job and goes straight out through expenses, feeding that liability column, the mortgage, the car payment, the credit card bills.
Okay. And for someone building wealth?
It's different. Money flows from their assets, things like stocks, generating dividends, rental properties, bringing in rent, intellectual property earning royalties.
So the assets generate income.
And that income is then ideally reinvested back into buying more assets. It creates a cycle. The asset column grows and generates more and more income, often making the job income less and less relevant over time.
Ah, so that's making money work for you, building the asset engine.
That's the goal. Build the engine.
All right, so it's not just knowing the difference, it's actively building that asset column. And the sources draw this really important line between your job, your profession, and your business.
Yes, critical distinction. Your profession is how you earn your wages, right?
Yeah.
It fills the income column usually. Doctor, teacher, plumber, whatever.
But your business, that's different.
Your business is focused purely on building and growing your asset column. It's separate from your job.
Huh. So you could be a great doctor, super successful professionally, but if all your income just goes to expenses and liabilities, you don't actually have a business in this sense.
Exactly. You haven't minded your own business, which is the business of asset accumulation. When the paycheck stops, the income stops.
Okay, so you need to focus on building assets alongside your profession. Is there an example of this?
The classic one from the source is Ray Kroc. Everyone knows him for McDonald's.
Right, the hamburger guy. Sold franchises, that was his profession.
That was his profession, selling hamburger franchises. But he once told an MBA class, famously, that his business wasn't hamburgers.
It wasn't. Then what was it?
Real estate.
Real estate. How?
He understood the real value wasn't just the franchise fee or the burgers. It was the land underneath each McDonald's location. He made sure the corporation acquired the land or controlled the leases.
Wow. So McDonald's became...
One of the largest single owners of real estate in the world. He used his profession selling franchises to fuel his actual business, acquiring valuable real estate assets. That's minding your own business.
That's a totally different way of thinking. And the wealthy use other tools too, right? Like corporations.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is maybe one of the biggest legal advantages. The source talks about how income tax started supposedly to tax the rich.
The whole Robin Hood idea.
Right. But the rich quickly figured out how to use the legal structure of a corporation to protect their wealth, and eventually the main tax burden fell on the middle class and employees.
How does the corporation help? What's the trick?
It's about the order of operations for money. An employee earns money, then pays taxes on it, and then spends whatever is left over.
Earn tax man, okay.
A corporation legally works differently. The corporation earns money, then it spends everything it possibly can on legitimate business expenses, salaries, equipment, travel, even, R&D, maybe a board meeting somewhere nice.
Spend first.
Spend first, then it pays taxes on whatever profit is left over, which is ideally managed to be quite small.
Earned spend tax, that's a huge difference.
Massive. And it offers legal protection, too.
Yeah.
Assets are often held within corporations or trusts, so the wealthy might control everything.
But technically own very little personally. It shields them from lawsuits and creditors.
Creates layers of protection, and this knowledge really flips the script on buying luxuries.
How so?
The middle class often buys luxuries first, the nice car, the big TV, often on credit, trying to look rich.
Right, keep up appearances.
The financially savvy, though, they buy luxuries last. They wait until their assets generate enough passive income to pay for the luxury item.
Like the example of waiting years until the rental income from properties could buy the Mercedes outright.
Exactly. The Mercedes was a reward paid for by working assets, not a liability financed by future work. It's about priorities. Build the assets first.
Okay, this all makes logical sense. No assets versus liabilities. Build the asset column. Use structures like corporations. Buy luxuries last. But if the knowledge is out there, why are so many people still stuck in the rat race? It sounds like there's more to it than just the technical stuff.
Oh, absolutely. You're hitting on maybe the biggest obstacle.
Yeah.
It's usually not a lack of information. It's emotional. It's psychology.
What kind of emotions?
Primarily fear. And maybe a bit of cynicism or laziness disguised as something else, but fear is the big one. Specifically, the fear of losing money.
Well, yeah, nobody wants to lose money. That seems natural.
It's natural, but the reaction to that fear is different. Most people are so afraid of losing money that they play it incredibly safe. They avoid any investment that feels even slightly risky.
They play not to lose.
Exactly. They stick with savings accounts, maybe CDs, things with guaranteed but tiny returns. They miss out on potentially huge gains because the fear of even a small loss paralyzes them.
And how do the rich, or those becoming rich, handle that fear?
They still feel the fear, but they're not crippled by it. They understand that losing is part of winning. They see losses not as catastrophic failure, but as tuition, a learning opportunity.
Like, okay, that didn't work. What did I learn? How do I do it better next time?
Precisely. Failure inspires them, makes them smarter. Like the saying about the Alamo Texans were inspired by the loss to fight harder. Winners aren't afraid to lose, they learn from it. Losers are terrified of losing.
Okay, so fear is one hurdle.
Yeah.
What about laziness? You mentioned that. People seem busy, always working.
Right. They're busy, often overworked. But are they busy doing the right things? Are they busy analyzing deals, studying markets, educating themselves financially, or just busy at their job and keeping up with bills? Sometimes busyness is a way to avoid the harder, more important thinking.
How do you break that? How do you cure that financial laziness?
The source suggests a really powerful mental shift. It starts with language. Banish the phrase, I can't afford it.
I can't afford it. Yeah, hear that a lot. Why banish it?
Because it's a statement of defeat. It shuts your brain down. You accept the limitation. End of story.
So what do you say instead?
You force your brain to work by asking, how can I afford it?
Okay, that changes it from a statement to a question,
Mm-hmm.
a problem to be solved.
Exactly. It opens up possibilities. It forces creativity. It engages your mind to find solutions, maybe new income streams, ways to structure a deal differently. It uses that little bit of desire, maybe even, dare I say, greed, wanting something nice as fuel for ingenuity.
How can I afford it? That's a powerful switch. And this ties into another concept, right? Paying yourself first. That sounds risky if money's tight.
It does sound counterintuitive, doesn't it? Put money into your asset column before you pay your bills.
Yeah, what if you come up short?
That's precisely the point. The source argues that by paying yourself first investing in assets, you create pressure, healthy pressure. You have to figure out how to cover the remaining bills.
So instead of dipping into savings or investments when things get tight,
You're forced to think bigger, find new income, negotiate better, become more efficient. It forces you to develop your financial intelligence rather than just reacting or retreating. It builds resilience.
so the real asset isn't just the stock or the property. It's your brain, your ability to solve these problems.
That's the ultimate asset, your mind. Investing in your financial education is the most important investment you can make. The source mentions spending, $385 on a real estate seminar?
Yeah, and that knowledge apparently led to over $2 million in profits down the line.
Right. It's not about the initial cost. It's about the long-term return on knowledge. That's the real game.
Okay, so wrapping up this deep dive, it feels like the core message is about building financial intelligence.
Yeah,
It's not just one thing, but a combination of skills.
exactly. The source highlights 4 key areas you need to develop. First, accounting, understanding the numbers, financial literacy. Second, investing the strategies of making money grow.
Third was understanding markets, right? Supply and demand, market psychology.
And fourth, the law. Especially understanding taxes and the advantages of using corporate structures. It's the synergy of those 4 skills that really builds wealth.
And it comes down to daily choices, doesn't it? With every dollar we get.
Every single dollar is a choice. You can spend it foolishly and stay poor. You can spend it on liabilities you think are assets, like the middle class often does.
Cool.
Or you can invest it first in your mind, learning these skills, and then in building your asset column. That's the path towards financial independence.
And we should probably ditch that old idea that it takes money to make money.
Absolutely. That's the excuse of the financially untrained. Money fundamentally is just an idea. The rich are constantly inventing new ways, new formulas to create it, often starting with very little capital, but a lot of financial savvy.
So the final thought to leave everyone with, maybe it's this. Money is an idea. The rich invented. What new idea, what new skill, what new structure are you going to focus on mastering so that money finally starts working for you?
Yeah, stop playing it safe just to avoid losing. Start playing it smart to win.